first review. Oi! I'm Trenton.
I'm Michael.
We are YouTube's cutest best buds.
Some of them.
Welcome back to the projection room, where we project our thoughts.
Opinions.
Alright, let me do that again. Oh hey, I got something on Tinder.
Welcome back to the projection room, where we project our thoughts and opinions on movies, music, anime, series, porn, whatever the fuck.
And today, I'm doing a very special segment. It's called Michael's Musts. It's where Trent, him, shows me, Michael, movies that I should have seen by now, but I definitely have not seen yet. And Trent is very pissed off that I have not seen these movies yet because he can't talk to anybody about them.
Exactly, because a lot of times these are movies that everyone should have seen by this point, or just in general in their life, because not seeing them is a fucking crime. So, yeah. And today we're going to be talking about
The Martian.
Interstellar.
Sorry.
Excuse me?
Sorry.
And today we're going to be talking about
The Martian.
Interstellar.
Oh. What?
And today we're going to be talking about Interstellar.
Hunting.
Just say Good Will Hunting.
I saw Matt Damon! And I don't know, I fell asleep.
I don't even want to argue with you about that because that's actually a good movie. Let's do it again from the top.
Okay, alright, one more time. I got it.
And today we're going to be... Fuck. And today we're going to be talking about Interstellar.
You know, when you say we're having a Matt Damon day, it makes it hard. It makes it real hard to... We didn't plan this very well.
Interstellar! So anyway, we're just going to skim the synopsis for this movie because pretty much everyone's seen it. And for those of you who haven't, well, here you go.
Alright, so there's no jobs, no food. Humanity is like, yo, we need a solution. We can't find it on Earth. We're gonna go into space. Maybe we'll find an answer out there. This wormhole just appeared a couple years ago. Sent stuff through it. It looks like there's life on other planets, maybe. Not life, but like we could live there. So we're gonna try to find a solution elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of us got this, but like we're watching it and he pointed out to me like, do you get the timeline they're in? And he told me about like how the grandfather is pretty much our generation, except later on Matthew Mcconaughey would be like our children, and then Matthew McConaughey's daughter would be our grandchildren, and like how like the problem of our generation burning through all the resources created this problem for Matthew McConaughey's generation to start trying to fix, and really gets left up to his children to fix the issue. And like I was drawing a parallel between like modern, it's like seems like a kind of modern theme. It seemed like, especially when this movie came out a couple years ago, but it still continues on today, where like people are like, oh, baby boomers caused all this, they ruined all this for us, we have to suffer, we're trying to fix it for the next generation will have it so much better than us. And honestly, every generation is gonna suck, but whatever. Yeah.
So next we're going to dive into the direction. In case you didn't know, this film was helmed by the boy Christopher Nolan, who is a total boy.
The boy. Very same boy who did Dark Knight trilogies. Love those movies.
And this film is completely different from those films almost entirely. This film...
No Batman.
Yeah, that too. This film is a complete buttfuck in the best way. This film is not a film, it's an experience. Like, I didn't get to see it in theaters, but I can only imagine people who did get to see it in theaters because there's so many scenes that just feel like they take place on such like a grand scale. Like space just feels so fucking real.
Yeah, some movies are so clearly meant for like theaters, you know?
Yeah, like this
the screen, the sounds.
Yeah, this is a total theater experience. But I have to say, watching it at home, still fucking, it's just...
Literally was on the edge of my seat. Had to like... Stood up for a minute. Stood up.
It's not a phase, Mom! This film was shot so beautifully, which you kind of come to expect from Christopher Nolan. The cinematography was beautiful, especially like a lot of the scenes that take place in space. Like I said, they just feel like they take place on such a grand scale, and like the set designs too. All the spaceships just felt lived in because these characters are on these spaceships for like an extended period of time. That just
genuinely believe this is an astronaut mission you're just watching. Speaking of cinematography, one of my favorite scenes from this movie was they're going through the wormhole for the first time. Also, the freaking wormhole, that thing was like, you see them crossing Saturn and then you were like, damn, space is so scary. I was like, dude, space is so big.
Yeah, dude,
like,
space freaks me out.
Space, like you see this tiny dot across your screen. I can imagine like in a theater, that is a dot. That is not like just like oh, it's my TV dot, but like this thing was fucking, it's space, God. Anyway, so they go into the wormhole. That was a total acid trip right there. Like I cannot imagine what it would be.
Dude,
like.
we need to take drugs and watch this movie.
Later topic. and they're going through, and then like they see this gravity disturbance inside the ship, and it's like next to Anne Hathaway's face, and Anne Hathaway's like, I'm touch it, I'm touch it, I'm touch it. I'm like, I was looking at that, I was like, don't touch that. I was just like scared. I was like, what if you guys come out real quick and the gravity thing ends and your hand's in that thing? It's just no hand for the rest of the movie. Anne Hathaway, and oh my god, it's terrifying. Oh my god, it's terrifying. But yeah, when she reaches in, she's like, oh, it's a handshake. I'm like, who cares? God, that was terrifying. I was like, my heart was racing during that scene. I was terrified for Anne Hathaway's life.
Yeah, that's a pretty intense scene. And so, speaking of your favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes is Matthew McConaughey, because they go down to the very first planet that they visit. So, after they come off that planet where relativity fucks everything up for the rest of the movie, it's like a real turning point for the film. And everyone on Earth is now like way older, all of his kids have grown up. And he gets back on the ship and he's watching all the tapes of his kids growing up, and he's just watching them all grow up and how he missed everything. And he starts crying. It's so good. I love the way that whole scene is shot. Both like Nolan, the way he directs it, and Matthew McConaughey, his performance in that scene. Like before this scene and before this movie, I never gave a shit about Matthew McConaughey aside from like Dazed and Confused. Aside from that, I felt like he only did like fucking chick flicks where he played like that hey like that fucking.
I talk like this, not drink whiskey.
Yeah. He was just always that dude, and then I saw him in this, and I was like, holy shit. Because that scene, like he goes from smiling, being so fucking happy for like his kids and watching them have kids and stuff, to slowly just fucking crying.
He's like, I missed everything.
And I just love that scene was just done mainly in one take. You just watch the expression in his face change all in that like 1 minute. It's just, I fucking love that scene so much.
That was a good scene.
Yeah. And moving on, I really want to talk about the score. I love the score for this movie. I just felt like I really needed to mention that. There's a lot of scenes where just the score really helps build on top of things. And on top of that, they do a lot of interesting stuff with the sound design, especially whenever they're in space in the movie, because it's really realistic to being in space. Like every time they show something happening outside of the ship, there's just no noise. It just cuts off. There's just no noise at all, which is realistic as opposed to like fucking Star Wars. Every time there's a fight in space,
you hear all the lasers. Yeah, you hear things crashing. Yeah. And real quick, since we're talking about like noises and scores and all that, when they were in space, you don't hear anything because it's space. There is a scene after Matt Damon blew the freaking Endurance up. They're trying to get back into it, and they open up these doors and things start like depressurizing or whatever. I don't know what the correct term for it was, but as soon as those doors open, you go from like mute to like alarms blaring. You hear like from like pipes going. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like you just hear things and like you're like, oh shit. You go from like, oh hey, we're in space. Like there's danger everywhere, you know.
And so next, I feel like we cannot not mention the performances, the cast, the crew, all that jazz. Number one, Matthew McConaughey, the leading man in the movie. Yeah, I wish I had more thumbs to give him more thumbs up because not only was it an amazing performance, but this was the performance that, for me personally, changed my opinion of him as an actor.
Honestly, me too.
And also, I just love his character motivation for this film. The whole motivation is very simple. It's him trying to get back to his daughter. He's a dad. Yeah, he's a dad. He wants to save his daughter, but he also wants to save her in a way that he can actually come home to her, like and he promises her that he's going to.
He is trying so hard to fix the world for his kids, like dad of the fucking year, get this man a mug, god damn. He's like went across fucking space and time to save his kids. He fucking fights an astronaut on a distant planet.
He fights Matt Damon.
He fights the Martian himself. He fucking goes through a black hole and communicates with fucking banging on a bookshelf.
Oh, dude, that scene's so sad. When he's banging on the bookshelf and he's just crying and he's trying to stop himself.
He's like shouting, stay, don't fucking go. Oh my god.
That's like me every time I make any decision in my life.
And then like he's just like, he's realizing this was me, and like I'm just like watching him like, dude, you know how this plays, you know you didn't stop, that's why you're behind that bookshelf right now. God, that was such a fucking, that's another scene where I like stood up and I was just like, stay, Matthew McConaughey, stay.
Yeah, and then also I feel like we have to mention Anne Hathaway. I feel like she was a great supporting actress, like a great counter to Matthew McConaughey. They were really the only two of the astronauts that actually had like backstories, I guess you'd say. Like they actually had reasons for coming home. Really, all the cast as a whole was great. I didn't have any problems except for Topher Grace. I don't know why he was
Makes no sense
at all.
Real quick, I want to talk about Matt Damon. Actually, Matt Damon had like, in my opinion, a drive almost like comparable to Matthew McConaughey's. He was on this planet. He like quickly found out we cannot live here.
Yeah, the interesting thing I think about his character and his performance in the movie is that he's not in a lot of the movie, and for what little bit he is in it,
It changes everything.
it changes everything. And not only like one part of me is like, dude, that guy's a fucking asshole. That guy's a prick.
But I get it.
But if I was in that situation, I can't say that I would be brave enough to not want to call for help.
Like, I cannot say that I would, like, I don't know what I would do. Like, honestly, I probably would do what he did. I would probably try to get people, sucker them down here, sugarcoat things a little bit, sneak off when they're not looking, blow up their spaceship, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I do all that, but really, as a whole, the whole cast was great. Especially Michael Caine. Every time I saw Michael Caine, I was like, "Dad."
Michael Caine too, like the sacrifice he had to make, he had a great character set up for him. And we had talked about this right before we started this whole recording. Is like, it changed my whole perspective on how I look at people for a minute. I was just like looking around and I'm like, you couldn't make that decision. You couldn't do this. You would crack under that pressure. Like, no one could fucking do what those guys did, you know?
Yeah. They're the best of humanity, man. Alright, so now you've seen it. What do you think?
I cannot like give this movie enough praise right now. Like, so very few movies I feel like really fucking impact you the way this movie impacted me, where I'm just like, God, I was like literally on the brink of tears. I don't think I've cried from one movie. We won't talk about that movie, but like, God, this movie was so good. Like, this was a Michael's must, but honestly, if you have not seen this movie, you must see this movie.
I recommend it to everyone. I think it's one of Christopher Nolan's best.
I'm gonna start walking around door and like knocking on doors like, excuse me, do you have a moment to talk about the movie Interstellar?
See, so do you understand now why I wanted you to watch it?
I get
so
it.
bad?
I honestly get the necessity of this little segment here.
Yeah.
Like, if it's gonna be more stuff like this, hopefully, then I get it.
Yeah, so if you guys out there on the interweb have any requests for Michael to watch, or even me, there's plenty of movies that I haven't seen, although I've seen a lot more movies than Michael.
We're only human.
No bragging, not bragging, I'm not bragging, but I've seen more movies. And so this was definitely a must, in my opinion, for him. If you guys have any musts out there, please, by all means, leave them in the comments below. I give this 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
I wish I had more thumbs.
This is a 10. This movie is a 10.
That's a 10.
Pure vanilla. So, have you seen this movie? If you haven't, you should definitely watch it. But if you have, let us know what you thought in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe, or, don't.
Come check us out again.
Do not go gentle. Rage against the dying of the light.
Rage against the machine.
Bye.
Fuck it. That's it. Let's go.
Bye. Where are we going?